Welcome everybody to the Creation Wars. This is the weekly photo competition with a twist. What we do is we get on different masters from the Arcanum every week, and they come in, they represent a different apprentice every week, and they will present their work. They're going to sell us on it. There's some gamesmanship. There's lots of confusion in the voting, lots of controversy, lots of fun. So you're going to learn a lot. You're going to get to meet all these amazing people, hear about their amazing apprentices, and who knows what's going to happen during the show. So let's go ahead and get started with introductions. First, let me show you what I'm having tonight. This is a Mount Edward wine. I like this guy. His name is Duncan. He's one of the only people I met from this area that goes to Burning Man, so I support his wines. This is the Wanaka Road. This is a 2012 Pinot Noir. All right, this is what my poison is tonight. Okay, so let's go in the order in which we will go throughout the whole night, starting with Jessica Lark.
No pressure, going first. I'm Jessica Lark, and I am a boudoir photographer, and I run 2 separate cohorts in the Arcanum, both of which are awesome. House Lark is representing with Martin Higgs tonight, and I am sick as a dog, so I have really hot tea in one hand, and then I have my favorite rose wine, which I'm going to switch to because the tea isn't doing enough, so
that looks like a Christmas ornament. Hold that thing up again.
I know, isn't it pretty? I bought it because I liked the bottle, but then I really liked the wine too, so now it's my new favorite because it's pretty and it's tasty.
Yeah, it looks like a science experiment. Okay.
Trey, you didn't introduce your fantastic co-host.
Oh, well, no, he's always last, and he's not that fantastic.
No, oh, no.
As you know.
He will beg to differ. He is not last.
It took Trey like 10 seconds to even register who I am. He's like, who are you talking about? Oh,
well,
yeah, there's this guy.
I thought you were being tricky, and you were talking, like right after Jessica spoke, she was going to introduce her co-host, who I thought was her recently returned husband from Afghanistan. I thought that's where you were going. I was seeing if that was developing in that direction.
See, this is organic television. This is how it is. Isn't it fun?
It is. Now, Karen, you were last in the introductions, not because
That's
of that,
good.
just it's the way it came out. Because I also thought you were going to be away from your computer for a minute.
I still am. Well, I'm still away, so I just had to interject because I started to feel bad for your co-host.
Well, that's the first time she will ever feel bad for you, and the last time, Gino.
I just want you to mark it on your calendar that it happened. That's all.
Yeah, I feel I'm being set up here somehow, but all right.
You're not. You're not at all. You should just feel the love and accept it. Okay, carry on. I'm going to keep working on my thing here.
By the way, Karen, did you notice that Gino is wearing a shirt that's 9 years old?
I thought it was 8 years old. Wow. Oh, look at that. It is 9 years old. Well, he was trendy then and he's trendy now for entirely different reasons. I don't know.
Okay.
Carry on.
Next up, Ollie Dale. Go forward with your introduction,
trending.
man.
It's definitely trending. Hello, I'm Ollie Dale. I'm coming to you today from the Auckland International Airport, so apologies in advance should I drop off or lose my connection. I'm a master in the Arcanum and running a great cohort of people from all around the world, including our friend Stuart, who you'll meet later on. And yeah, fun fact for the day, I've got to leave in about an hour and 45 minutes in order to go and do a job, so we've got to keep talking.
Yeah, you've got like a real photography job. Show us what do you see out the window there at Ollie?
Yeah, sure. So I'm basically parked up in the viewing area at Auckland International Airport. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in, but yeah, we just had a Qantas plane land, and we've got planes coming and going all afternoon, so it should be fun.
You can tell he's actually working because he doesn't have a pirate hat or any battery-operated things going on behind him.
Ollie, you're so fly.
Man.
Get it?
I was so disappointed that I was away today because I've actually built for myself a little paper remote control receiver for my battery-operated flag, and I'll have to show that to you next time.
So, Ollie, you should watch out because you know who's flying into Auckland Airport today is Curtis Simmons and Melissa Simmons, who are coming to live here for several months. So watch out for their plane.
Well, I'm just going to flip my screen, and you guys can sit here, and it might be one of the next planes. You never know.
You never know. Okay, next item up for bid, Don Cucaracha.
Close enough. bidding starts at 10,000. But I'm a nature, landscape, and macro photographer, and of course a master in the Arcanum. I've got a cohort of sort of like minds, sort of sciencey, interested people that are pursuing some very interesting avenues in photography. I tried to grab up a bunch of people that were interested in super macro photography and infrared photography and all sorts of weird things. And so I've been building my cohort around some pretty clever people, and it's been a lot of fun so far. But I'm actually a fairly new master, so most of my people are sitting around the level 5 mark and starting to create new work. It's very exciting times for everybody. And this time of the year, if people aren't familiar with my work, I start a Snowflake marathon, which sounds very odd. But I've published a lot of work, and I actually just had a documentary done by CBC here in Canada called Chasing Snowflakes, an episode of The Nature of Things, which is a fairly popular Canadian documentary series. And that just aired less than a month ago, and so it's pretty exciting times. I post a snowflake photograph every single day. If you find me anywhere on social media, you'll see what I've done so far, and it's going to be a very long winter.
Tom, I need more snowflakes in my life. What's your Instagram?
Instagram is the only one that I'm not on. Google Plus, Flickr, 500px, Twitter, Facebook. I'm in a lot of places, but Instagram just hasn't cut it for me. Maybe I'll go there too.
I think you could do well on Instagram because it's different. Different stuff does well. By the way, here I have your book, Don. Right.
Hey,
here.
Look at that.
Look at that, and it's even autographed. Boom shakalaka.
There we go.
Nice.
That's worth something then.
Jessica, I also have your book here.
Yay!
Yes, I kept it in the wrapping just like my original Luke Skywalker to save the value of it.
Yeah,
It's
you
better
kept it
when
in
you
the
wrap it.
wrapping
It's
because if
safer
you
that
opened
way.
it, your wife wouldn't be very happy. But anyway.
Okay,
Dude, that's
next
on my
up.
bucket to shoot your wife.
Next up is Les.
I
Hey,
wanted to
everybody.
say before Les jumps in that I forgot to say what I'm drinking. I'm drinking Writer's Tears whiskey today. I tried to look for Photographer's Tears, but they didn't have any. So.
That is awesome, and I need that.
Awesome.
Okay, sorry, Les.
Les.
Yeah, no, you're right. Hey everybody, my name's Les. I'm probably the baby of the group tonight. I'm one of the new masters that's working our way through the Arcanum. Came through I guess I was an apprentice and stepping up through now. I have an awesome cohort, a heap of people that love to shoot a lot of nature, landscapes, some wildlife as well, and they are really, really active at the moment, working through a few bugs, but it's very exciting seeing how they're all coping with it all and producing the great work that they're doing. What am I doing? I'm drinking water, as I'm in Perth, so it's only 10:10 in the morning, so it's a little early to start drinking too much more than that. But it's interesting to be here. I'm very looking forward to showing off Mike Jacobs today and his work, who I know Trey will know very, very well.
Mike Jacobs is great. I'm glad to see you representing him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mike, isn't he cool? I first met him here in Queenstown. He came to one of our photo adventures here. And then he also went to the one in Namibia, in Africa. So I spent a long time with that guy. He's awesome sauce. I dig him.
Yeah, he is.
All right, Les. By the way, Les is sort of the poster child for everything that is the Arcanum, in that, when we started this, we sort of had this vision that we're going to have, these great masters, and they're going to train up apprentices. And maybe some of these apprentices might be such interesting photographers and such good communicators, they might actually want to become masters of their own. And that's exactly what's happened with Les. So it's sort of this self-replicating system. And he's like the first, he's like our test tube baby, which we didn't really expect. But yeah, it's been fantastic. So we have a formal program that we're going to announce probably in the next few weeks that was actually spearheaded by Jessica Lark here. It's called The Path of the Protege. And so we'll talk about how this can happen to anybody in the Arcanum. So awesome, possum. Okay, Karen Hutton. Last
That
but not
would be
least.
me. That would in fact be me. Hi, I'm Karen Hutton. You can find me at KarenHutton.com. New website coming soon, all that kind of thing. a little phlegmy tonight, but don't let that bother you. Photography is at KarenHuttonPhotography.com. I'm a master in the Arcanum. I was one of the 6 original old school people. I've got 6 graduates of level 20, and yeah, they're pretty freaking awesome, and they're moving and shaking, and I could not be prouder of them and more honored to work with them. That's what I can think to say at the moment. We just had our last 2 level 20 presentations today. Raw.
Fantastic. Everyone loves K-Hut.
Well, the K-Hut Cohort of Awesomeness is our name, and they are. So let it be said.
By the way, I forget, Karen, the first time, did you win the Creation Wars already during the first week?
No. Mm-mm.
Did not win that week. Who won that week?
Did not win that. That would be Martin's apprentice with the lion.
Yeah. He came strong with that image. I hope you guys all came strong tonight with strong images. I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
No, we pretty much went for the weakest, kind of came a little...
Yeah, we thought we'd tone it down a little.
Yeah, we thought, because we're not, we're not competitive or anything,
Can we do a Creation Wars of the worst image? Like, can we have people compete with the absolute worst image they've ever created? I feel like that would be a really interesting Creation War.
I thought some of y'all already had done that in previous shows, but I just didn't bring it up.
I wasn't going to say that, Gino, but thanks for going there.
And I'll use this as an opportunity to introduce my awesome co-host, Gino Barasa.
Thank you. Hey, I want to say thanks to Stu. Somewhere on the screen, like maybe right over here, there's like a little 1138 Studios PNG file. Can you guys see that, or is he just bunking me? Am I pointing at nothing right now?
No, we see it.
Okay. Well, anyway, since Trey never really bothers to introduce me on the show, I asked Stu. I was like, hey, can you just represent that way? Whenever I talk, at least people will be able to figure out where I'm at. But so thank you very much, Stu. And also, although I've probably never said it on air, thank you, Trey, for inviting me to hang out on the show, even though I bring virtually nothing to the show. I think that's quite an honor. Everybody else brings something, but not me. It's like a red badge of courage for me to bring nothing to the show. But anyway, something I'll be doing is going to, and I wanted to announce it on the show, so if anybody has any advice for me, they can email it to me, is I'm going to Big Bend National Park in a week. And I've never been there. I've never shot the place, so I don't really know where to shoot. I've been Googling it and going to Google Plus and looking at images that other people have already shot. But if anybody has any advice that's watching the show, you can feel free to email it to me at 1138studios@gmail. That's it for me.
Very good. Thank you, Gino. And then we also are joined by 2 silent little boxes down there. They're always welcome. Part of the team that makes the Arcanum possible. These are the Arcanum heroes. We have Tiff Gila Monster.
Hi.
Hello, Tiff. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. Tiff is live tweeting tonight. She's live tweeting it up.
Yep.
Tweet storm, Tiff.
Going off over here, actually. It's pretty good.
Ow. Okay, good. And we have Stuart.
Hello.
Hey, Stuart.
Stuart.
Good to see you, Stuart. Okay. All right, guys. So let me get started by showing you something very cool. You're actually the first to see it. In fact, none of the masters in here have even seen it. That's how super surprising and secret this is. But I'm not going to show you everything. I'll just give you a little peek inside the kimono. But this has to do with Sphere 2. So we've had a few different masters helping us to build out Sphere 2, which is levels 21 to 30. And of course, we're going to have multiple spheres. We'll have 31 to 40, 41 to 50. The idea is that, as you go through the Arcanum, every 3 months or so, a minimum of 3 months, maybe if you're type A like Les, you could get through it in that time. But every 3 months, you get a new master, and every master gives you a new set of quests. They're constantly pushing you to get better and try new things, so on and so forth. And I know that even one thing that we're going to do when we open this up, I think we might even have some masters sign up to join some of these other masters to learn things. I know, like Ollie Dale said, he had an interest in maybe joining like a level 30 Ron Clifford to go into his cohort because he just wants to get better at landscape photography himself. So I think it's going to be kind of cool in that way too. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Whoops, don't want to share that screen. Hold on, hold. Here we go. Almost there. Here we go. Share. So where do we start here? So this is Sphere 2, levels 21 to 30. And here's the thing that's quite special about these spheres is they're super duper personalized. Whereas you sort of have a general template for the first 20 levels, even though some masters have taken to personalizing them, which is fine. These are actually super duper personalized. So this one was designed by Robin Griggs Wood, old RGW. It's kind of like, we liken this to like having, you know, pro golfers design golf courses in a sense. Okay, so we have our little get to know you type video there. If we jump on down, we can see her level 21 quest. And by the way, none of this will ever be publicly available because we kind of like to surprise, you know, apprentices as they hit these levels or as they get invited by Robin Griggs Wood. They'll see that she has a special curriculum that's just really for her that she's built for the apprentices. So here at level 21, she has a cool set of challenges she calls the Dawning, and there's some details of it there. And let me compare that over here to Ron Clifford. Okay, so Ron Clifford designed a different, you know, personalized golf course of sorts, and he has his little video here. We talk about how, you know, Sphere 2 is a totally different kind of experience, but if we pop down here, you see that his level 21 is actually totally different than Robin's level 21. He calls it, you know, 4 W's and an H. And it just, you know, it goes on and on. It gets better and better. So, like, for example, level 26 has all this cool stuff happening. You still get your critiques. You still get at least 2 critiques. We have our evaluation guide. She's got a really crazy set of challenges here for level 26. So anyway, we are really excited to announce this. It'll become official here in you know, another week or so, and we'll communicate this all to everybody. But just wanted to give you a little sneak peek action there for you. There you go. How do you like them apples, Jessica Lark?
I love them, and I'm just going to draw attention to the fact that Ron started out his sphere with calling it off the Hizuk.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Les, I think you went through the whole Arcanum faster than anybody I know. Aren't you like the speediest speed?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we've got a couple of folks at the moment that are really motoring through. Definitely in the later cohorts for sure. I think some might be tapping on 4 or 5 months to get through both spheres. I think it took me, I started in April, I think it was 9th of April was my first post.
All right.
And finished, yeah. So it was about 6 months for me.
Well, I know our level 20 lounge is piling up with people really fast. In fact, we do special stuff in the level 20 lounge, and tomorrow we have a live kind of level 20 exclusive thing. We have Frederick Von Johnson coming in, and we're going to do a little bit of a businessy rap with him, business and marketing rap with FBG.
Frederick Von Johnson. I like that pronunciation, Frederick Von Johnson.
Frederick Von Johnson. Yeah. It's like Jean-Claude
Let's
Van
talk the
Damme.
whole evening. I think we should speak the whole evening. Trey Ratcliff, what do you think, darling, about this? See, my face hurts already now from doing that. Carry on.
By the way, Karen, I think we have you to thank. You've actually gotten the most people through your cohort. I think most of the people in the level 20 lounge are from you, aren't they?
Yeah, that would be us. We're very
She's
motivated.
an overachiever.
I know, it's true. Well, apparently my cohort is too. I mean, they've done concerts and exhibitions, and they've produced books, and they've created websites and blogs, and I'm like, there's just no stopping them. They're incredible.
You're a machine.
It's amazing.
Well, actually, you know what happened, and I blame myself entirely for this. This was a mistake that I made strategically with the Arcanum, is that we planned. You know, we've always planned on having levels 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, you know, forever. And we thought, well, we had a pretty good idea of what we were going to do from level 20 to 30. We knew it was going to be very personal. It was going to be the master that really chose the quest, so on and so forth. But we didn't actually build it out yet because we thought, oh, well, we have time. We'll just wait for there to be, you know, a bunch of people in the level 20 lounge, and then we'll build it out, so on and so forth. But what happened, because we didn't announce it, is people kind of came to expect, like, well, 20 levels was it. You know, it's like the old, you know, the new generation of D&D. You just max out at 20 and that's it. So what happened is we have all these amazing masters like you that have created these like lifetime experiences within those 20 levels. Like gas has just filled up this massive balloon. And so, you know, I know people in your cohorts are doing like amazing stuff. And so it's really gotten a little bit overkill, I think. And I guess now that we've announced this, we'll kind of indicate also on the tail end that we want to move people fairly quickly through these first 20 levels, the foundation levels, so they can get to the real core learning at the higher level.
Oh, I think they're just ready to start all that stuff now. This group, anyway, they're all primed and ready for whatever comes next, because they feel like they're in a position now to just really dig in, and they're confident, and it's just been perfect for them. I don't know about the rest, but it's been a really great experience. They don't feel tapped out, in other words.
I think part of it too, Trey, is that you picked a lot of people that you wanted to teach higher spheres, and we all started lower because otherwise we'd just be sitting at sphere 3, 4, and 5 waiting for people to level up. So you picked a bunch of overachievers and put them at the doorway.
Yeah, it's true. You guys are definitely all overachievers, and you know, we're actually, as you guys know, we set this up on purpose to be like a super ego-free zone. And I think that we all kind of enjoy our own photography, but we don't, we really don't let it go to our heads, or we don't take ourselves too seriously or any of that. And so eventually, of course, we will have multiple levels of masters, although it doesn't mean you're a better person. Maybe it just means you've been around the Arcanum for longer, or you have a certain level of expertise. It's just for higher level stuff. But as you guys know, after having these amazing cohorts, that some of the apprentices you have are just unbelievable artists, and they do really, really interesting stuff. And that's kind of the big key insight, is forever we've been in a world where you have to be like some kind of photography expert, or you have to be a real professional in order to teach other people. I think that's a fallacy. I think almost everyone has something to teach, and everyone has something to learn. And so insofar as I do believe that's true, I think that a lot of these apprentices, they don't actually realize that they can be teachers and they can help people get better. And as you guys know, and I know Les, you've discovered this. Actually, I'd like you to talk about it a second. We've never talked about this, but I know that actually when you actually become a master, or you actually start teaching, it really takes your own game to the next level, because then you got to figure out, okay, what the hell am I teaching? Do I really understand what I'm teaching? And it really makes you think about your own craft in a totally new way. Have you found that, Les?
Yeah, Trey, I have. It's interesting. You can. I mean, we don't know what we don't know, and it doesn't matter who we are, whether we're a master or we're a pro of 30 years or a beginner. We don't know what we don't know, and over time, as you begin to teach or mentor or whatever the word is that people use, you have to go inside and become a little introspective on what you're doing and how you're doing it, and then break it down so that people can actually get where you're going and what you're saying and what you're doing. And it does change things, because I found myself, when I'm out doing my thing, I'm thinking more about how it is for someone else to see what it is I'm doing, and then how can I explain that, and can I get it across. So I think it changes things a lot. I've been a teacher for 20 years in different fields, so I'm used to that. But this is different, and I think it really opened my eyes the first time Verena and I spoke about this. At that moment, I started to realize that it's not just me anymore. It's thinking about how to get it across to other people, and it's great. It's changed things a lot for me, definitely.
That is awesome. So, Karen, I want to jump over to you for a second. You have some adventures planned for 2015. You're being very vague about all the various things you're going to do, but you can talk about one of them with us, perhaps.
Yes, I have to be vague about some of them because they are in planning stages, and they're under the kimono. We're not lifting the kimono on some of them. But one of them that I'm actually going to be announcing here in the next day or two is I'm going to Paris next year. Those of you who know me at all know that I've been there once and I love it and I've been wanting to go back. And I'm going to be joining Valerie Jourdain at her workshop in Paris from the, May 23rd to the 29th. And so we're going to be having a great time and taking lots of photos and making some videos and possibly I'll be doing some virtual photo walks there, I hope, which I love to do, so I can bring everybody with me on the adventures that I have.
What kind of workshop is it?
Street photography. But because it's her week-long, so you can learn more at ValerieJardin.com. And is it Valerie Jardin or and Jardin is Jardin. And it's going to be, since it's a week-long, it's not just people. It's about creating the visual odyssey of an experience in a little village like Paris. And so we did a little video today talking about what we're going to do and what we're going to see and what she's going to focus on, and I'll be posting that in the next day or two. I'm really, really excited. And then I may be having other adventures.
Karen, are you currently broadcasting from Angelina Jolie's dojo, or where are you right now?
Yeah, I actually am. She's in the other room. She's having a little dinner, a little relaxation time.
Is that her? Is that the cutout of her behind you there?
Yeah, that's my Laura Croft. I figured,
okay.
We got the holiday Laura Croft thing going on, the gratitude, word. Yeah, it's kind of like it's my Miyagi
Gino,
space.
You should get a cardboard cutout of Karen. Or Karen,
you should do that.
But you could have the middle finger up instead of the forefinger.
Nice, Trey. Thank you. Wow, that's super awesome of you to say that.
Yeah. No, it's just for Gino. It's a limited run.
Hold on a second.
One
Let me
print
make
just
a
for
note.
Gino.
Let me make a note of what you just said, because I like to keep track of these things.
Yeah, put that in your Evernote.
Yeah, put that in my
That's a winner
Evernote.
idea.
And smoke it. Yeah, it's a great idea. And thank you for that.
Okay, are you guys ready to get started with the big competition?
Before we start, Trey, I just realised I rudely forgot to introduce my drink. So, for anyone who's interested, it is Old Moot Cider, which I hear is from New Zealand, so supporting Ollie and his cohort. It's supposedly kiwi and lime flavoured, so I thought I've got the cold, I should get some fruit, so that's the lime, and I guess it's got a hint of feathers as well with the kiwis in it. So,
yeah, I love how this hangout is full of sick people who are just drinking hard. Yeah.
I've got the High West whiskey double rye going, just in case you were curious.
Someone should tell them they spelt it wrong, Gino. We need to reprint those labels.
That's not how you spell West? All right, let's compete away.
So let's get going here. We're going to go in the same order of introductions. Here's how it works if you're a neophyte to the show. Each master will be showing off one of their apprentices. They may build up this apprentice. They may start with a little story, kind of get us to kind of fall in love or fall in like with this apprentice. I think they're interesting. Might show us some photos of the actual apprentice, maybe not. It's their choice. They might show several photos that they've shared within the cohort to kind of, build up a little bit of an idea what they're into, and then they'll present a final image. And this final image will be the submission into the Creation Wars. And then we're going to do a quick critique. The other masters will go through and give a very quick, pithy critique. Maybe 10, 15 seconds. Just hit the highlights, okay? And then we're going to rinse and repeat with each of our individual masters, okay? So Jessica, you are up first. The floor is yours.
Awesome. So my apprentice is Martin Higgs, and he is actually from Miss Aniela's cohort that I kind of stepped in as a permanent substitute for the first 20 levels. Him and I are actually teaching a workshop together in London later this year, and I have to tell you, I'm sure some of the other masters feel this way too, but I am constantly humbled by the amount of talent that I see in the apprentices, let alone the masters. And he was really competing with Gretchen for Creation Wars 1 for the lead image, and he posted this one, and it just won me over the moment I saw it. I just think it's a stellar image. So he's from the UK. We don't fault him for that. And he recently called me a crumpet Which once I found out what he was meaning, it was better than being called like a tasteless biscuit, which is where I went with it. So I'm learning all kinds of new slang, which I think is awesome. But he's definitely one of my favorites. So.
Hey, Jessica, did you just say that you're, sorry to interrupt, did you say you're teaching a workshop with him?
Yeah, so he
That's a fun idea.
He asked if I would come over and if I had any plans to come over to the other side of the pond, and said he would be interested in attending the workshop. And his work is so phenomenal, as you can see. And so I said I would definitely be interested, but only if he co-taught with me, because I think that I have as much to learn from him as he possibly could from me. And I thought it'd be a really dynamic duo, because his work is just stellar. So Martin Higgs, you should definitely be following him. And it's a shame you let me go first, because there's really no reason for anybody else to show their images at this point.
It is a strong image. Well played, Jess. Okay, now, I like how they come and just throw out the gauntlet. I like how it gets a little bit aggressive. I don't mind a little bit of conflict. It's all right. It's all right. Okay. Ollie, are you ready to critique that image?
I am now, yes. Talk about amazing. I mean, admittedly, I'm on my phone, right? So I'm a little bit held back by that. But the art on this face is insanely good. I come from a country where it is part of the culture of the native people to draw art on people's faces. And taking that kind of concept and doing this kind of art and this kind of drawing, beautiful. And the light coming on as well that the photographer has brought to this artwork on the face. I'd love to know that was permanent, because that's pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm loving the image. It's a great portrait. Very
cool. Okay, Don, you're up next.
Well, I'm a bad judge of portraiture, because it's not something that I do. Now I'm trying to look at this image and to judge the photography and not the art of the styling of the model itself, because I don't know if the photographer did both. I'm assuming the photographer's only taken the picture. The art's done by somebody else, as far as the makeup and the beautiful patterns. So that aside, I love the way that there's a tiny little a sort of glimmer hitting over just certain parts of the face to reveal texture where it's needed, but to imply that that is everywhere else. And having the blacks on a black background can be a tough balance, and I see that there is a little bit of definition on the outer edges. Though on the top right, I might have wanted a little bit more detail to separate the subject from the background. It fades off a little bit too dark for me in those regions. But I mean, my opinion is it's a great picture, and I don't really have too much else to add, except I can see the one eye very, very clearly, and I can see just a tiny glimmer of the other one, and I'd almost want to see either a little bit more or a little bit less of the eye that's kind of hiding behind the nose there.
Ah, that's good comment there. I didn't notice that till you said it. Okay, Les, you're up next.
Yeah, what a terrific image. I'll echo a little of what Don has just said. You know, the light and so on is awesome. I don't shed a lot of portraiture, but a couple of things I suppose to really nitpick. You can see the hair on the neck just above the shoulder line. That sort of thing probably distracts some. And the nose, Don alluded to the eye. The nose is very close to breaking the cheek line, and in portraiture, yes, this is deliberate perhaps, but the nose and the lips are very close to the cheek, and it runs in to the background. So either go deliberately and get move more of the right eye out, or create more space between the cheek and the nose.
Cool. And Karen.
I bow to Les's knowledge. I don't really know what he's talking about, but I think that's interesting. I love learning more about things like portraiture. Just so I'm not a portrait person, I love this. I absolutely love it. I love the light. I love the way it glances across her face and manages to catch her eye. I love the story. I love her eye. The hair doesn't bother me. I think it's really striking and really dynamic. And I also love the use of negative, I don't know what the opposite, I suppose it's positive space, but negative space, showing just what's needed to tell this story, including her shoulder. which I love. I don't know why the face and the contrast with her shoulder and the skin along her neck and everything on the top of her shoulder is such a great balance, but I really, really love this photo.
I agree with you, Karen. I love that soft shoulder. It's nice.
I know.
Nice balance to the hardness above.
Yeah, it really is, and the skin and everything. It's a neat touch. So anyway, love it.
Right on. Okay. So there you go. Now, Ollie, you're up next. You're in a car. What is your plan for sharing your photo, Ollie Dale?
I have strings that I will pull with my favorite puppet in the whole world, Stuart. So Stuart's going to share the images, so if you could highlight his screen, and I'll just talk over the top of it. So today, apologies again if I cut off, I'll come back as quickly as possible. Today I'm bringing you the work of Mr. Chris Arnold. Chris was one of the first people who joined my cohort back along with Stuart, way back when in the dim dark ages, and these are some of his images that he submitted for his level 4 and a couple from his level 9 critiques. He's currently in Sphere 1, and he's from Australia. He lives in Canberra, and one of the things he loves doing is people, but especially dancers. He's also a martial artist himself, so he takes a bit of martial arts stuff, but like this one here, for example, was one of his level 4 images, and it's just a great image of a person in their dance showing off their inner soul, and I really appreciate that. So a lot of the stuff that Chris does has been about sort of portraiture and people in their environment and things like that. So if we could flick over to the website there, Mr. Stewart, he's got a website that he's put up solely for the dancing sort of photography that he does, and he goes around local clubs and gets in touch with people and tries to convince them to let him photograph them, which is fun. So this is his website here, and if we just scroll down to some of the other ones, it's a very cool way of sort of doing what you're passionate about, and I really appreciate what Chris has done with that. Do you want to scroll down a bit there, Stuart?
I like how when Stuart comes on in between screen sharing, he reminds me of, you remember Lobot from The Empire Strikes Back?
Excellent. Anyway, so let's pop back. The picture in the background of that image there is actually the image that we're bringing to the Arcanum Wars, to the Creation Wars today. So it was one of his images that he submitted to his level 9 critique, and really strong, not that one, really strong image of a dancer that I've seen done in studio before, but he kind of took that idea and took it out into the woods, and this is not comped together, it's not 2 images, this is all in camera. If you visit his website that we just saw down the page, there are some behind the scenes shots of them getting ready for this. And I chose this, well, actually the cohort helped choose which one was coming through today, but I'm really excited that this one's come in because there's such a dynamic portrait of that of the dancer. So away you go.
Trey, can you select Stuart's screen, or is that just me that's not seeing it? I'm seeing Ollie.
You guys have to select it individually. I do select it, but whatever I select goes into the final broadcast.
Okay, that's it. I'm just making sure that everybody's seeing it. All right, good stuff. Keep going.
Very good. Okay, by the way, here's what Stuart looks like in between. So this is Lobot. True Star Wars fans know Lobot very well. Okay, I'm unscreen sharing, and Jessica, you are critiquing first. Go.
Okay, I love the idea of this image. I think it's really profound. I love when people shoot subjects that move like dancers. I just think there's so much beauty in the line of their body, and I'm really digging on whatever they were using to get the kind of cloud and smoke effect. And I don't actually know if that's digitally done or if that was something that they were working with on set in the time. That said, I'm thinking that it was probably composited, and I don't feel like the light is really matching up. It's really, really harsh rim light along the back of her body, and it's kind of severing the believability for me a little bit. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of her face. I feel like when you're doing those sort of conceptual art shots, either you have the face gone so that it's completely anonymous, or you have it visible, and here her hair just happened to sever everything that's interesting about the face. Her nose, her eyes, her mouth. It's like covering all the essential information, and all you're really getting prominently is her chin. I would have also liked to have seen that second leg either pulled down or pushed up higher, and this is all really hard to do when you're doing motion shots, but she's very amputated on the one side because we have no sign whatsoever of the far arm or the far leg, and I think it's just kind of taking away from the figure and the dancer kind of body. But I still love the idea of the shot and what I think that it could be. It's both for me. I really love it, but I think there was a potential for it to be a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. By the way, Jessica, good critique, but a little long. So let's try to keep them short. 10 to 15 seconds. All right, woman?
Wait. You're saying I'm long-winded and I talk too much? I never hear that.
No, I'm not saying it. Okay. Ollie Dale, you will not do this when you have a conflict of interest. Don K.
Well, I'm looking at this, and I can echo a lot of what Jessica said, but for me, my eye jumps towards the background almost as equally as the foreground, and I'd almost want the background to be faded off, so whatever flashes they'd be using would be the brighter light source and offer a stronger competition to the bright light that's in the background. Now, I don't know if that's just the wrong time of day to take this picture, or if the background could be made out of focus by shooting at a wider aperture. In this case, you'd probably need to use neutral density filters in order to get the shutter speeds required for the flash sync. So that's my 2 cents. I don't like the background in this one.
Very good. Okay, Les.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Jessica and Don have said. You know, I want to love this image so much, but I'm just disconnected with it because the light is harsh and it lies. And I don't mind if an image is messing with the realistic nature or the realism of an image, but this one is causing me too much to try to work through. And as I said, I want to love it, but there's just, you know, the lighting is probably the main thing for me.
Cool. Kay Hutt.
I really like this image. The one thing I would do is, yeah, just kind of fade out the background more. I would like more separation where the background is more faded and I see her. The rest of it doesn't really bother me that much, at least at the resolution I can see. I can't really see all of it all that well, but I don't mind not seeing her face. She's just like a gesture. Her body is like a gesture. But I would like to not see so much of the background.
Cool, thanks. By the way, Stu, let's talk offline about a way to get all the masters' high-res images before the show so that we don't have to look at it inside of here. Sure. Okay. Okay, Don K., you are up next to share your photo.
All right. Well, I have, you know, one of the things that I've been trying to build out in my cohort is an interesting eclectic group of people that have an interest in science and the quirky things in photography. And so I'd like to introduce to you Jennifer Wolfe, and let me just do a screen share here of her. She's got a background in I think it's biology and ecology, some pretty fancy education there, and she's also a hot air balloon pilot of all things. So she brings some pretty interesting perspectives to the table. And you know, the kind of stuff that she does is, I mean, she likes macro photography. A lot of the people in my cohort do. There's a certain fascination with that up close world, the unseen things that are sort of right under your feet, and that connects really well with me and a lot of the people in my cohort. And unique perspectives, you know, things that might tell a story, angles that you might not consider, you know, even taking. And so I find looking at pictures like this one here, it offers a certain level of kind of creative inspiration to myself. You know, keeping those as little interesting bits and pieces of compositional tips in my own mind will let me expand my own horizon. So I learn a lot from these guys as well. And so again, water droplets and lines and shapes and playing around with sort of the core elements of photography on a very small scale is sort of what Jennifer does. But the image that I want to showcase was sort of the next one that I'll reveal in a second. But I had asked my cohort in sort of a weekly challenge to post a great photographic mistake, like a happy accident that just happened. You didn't intend for it to happen that way, but it did, and you liked the results. And so the image that Jennifer had shared is this one right here of a hot air balloon that was unintentional but is extremely overexposed. And I saw this and I just gravitated to this. It spoke to me because it takes that, I guess Karen had mentioned, instead of the negative space, you've got, I guess, positive space here with all the white instead of the black. But it isolates the subject and cleans up the background on a landscape that might be too busy, but guides me right in towards where the main subject should be. And if you look off in the distance, you can even see that there's another hot air balloon way off in the white in the background. And so there is a bit of depth there. There's a bit of context. And so I mean, when it comes right down to it, my cohort, we don't even have to try to win this thing. These things just happen as accidents, and we'll take it away with the gold.
Okay, Jessica, you go for it.
Isn't he adorable? I love him.
I know, it's so cute. I am going to keep this under 15 seconds. I like it. It's pretty, but I think it's very simple, and it's a little bit hot. The highlights are a little bit blown out for me, especially to the left of the balloon. And honestly, I think that it could be a happy accident for anybody that's going on. I don't necessarily think that this would be really exceptional as an image. I'd like to see it severed just a little bit more from the background, and I would like to see a little bit more of the detail on the grass below. But I do still really like it. It is a really pretty image.
Ollie Dale. Ollie, you are muted, I think.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I was saying that I think that we've got a collection of masters here today who are quite realist and potentially need to drink a couple more glasses of whatever they're drinking right now. I'm going to go into bat for Don on this one, despite the fact you all murdered my one. I like the idea of it, and I like the dreaminess that didn't. If I hadn't been told it was an accident, I would think that the photographer had, controlled this, and this was the communication they were giving. The fact that it's an accident, oh well, at least they could identify that it's a pretty cool image. I just think we need to open our minds a little. I quite like it.
Very cool. Les, you're up.
How do you follow that? I think, yeah, if you didn't know it was an accident, you'd look at it and think maybe it's a little hot. But I don't. The only thing for me really that says that it's too hot and starts to mess with my mind a little is the fact that you've got that bright highlight on the left of the balloon, and it's like there's a piece of balloon floating in midair. Apart from that, I can run with this. I can feel it and go, but it's just that little piece of sliver that's messing with my mind a bit.
Okay, right. Karen, you're up.
I love this. Nothing is bothering me about it. I love surprising shots like this. It doesn't follow the rules, which of course I love. And I love this positive space. I love there's a little bit of the fence leading me into the balloon. I might like a little more of the detail in the yellow part that did get sort of blown out, but maybe in the high res you can actually see that. Yeah, I don't have a problem with this. I think it's surprising and goes against the norm, and I love the colors and the composition, and it works for me.
All right, very cool. Thank you very much, Dawn. My opinion is I liked some of the other images that you showed even better than that one. I thought some of that macro stuff was really, really interesting.
It was a tough decision to come to that one as the final choice. But you know, I thought that this one, because it broke the rules, because it was something that I would never have thought of photographing myself in this way. I would have gone for something more conventional. But it's the unconventional process, whether intentional or not, that yields better results here. And so that sort of sparks creativity in myself.
Yeah, I think that's really true too. Like, I think it's important to note that when we are giving harsh critique, it's because the level of talent is so high, not just with the competition, but with the apprentices themselves. Like, with all the other images she's showing, I agree. I think there were stronger ones. But that doesn't mean that it's not stellar on its own. It just means it's in really high-quality company.
Okay, hey, we are now up to Les. You are number 4.
No problem.
You have the floor.
Right.
Less is not more.
So this is Mike Jacobs' work. He there's a story to all of this. So we are brand new. We're babies in the cohort in the Arcanum, as in a sense. He's got quite an eclectic range of subjects that he's shown, and this one he showed in the critique that we've just had at level 4. It typifies what he's doing. This one is well known to a couple of you here, and he shot this with you, Trey. So you know the work that he's doing is very good. He loves HDR, but it's not over the top, and I think that's quite impressive. We tweaked this one a little bit as well, and he's shown us that, and it's very nice to see that he's listening and open to these suggestions, which is what our cohort is actually doing. They are open to what's going on. Another one from Africa that he's just come back from. Another one here as well. It just shows his clean lines, the way he works, the way he thinks. He's got a nice way of working with colour without making it too over the top. This one we saw in our critique as well, and he's actually adjusted this and made it really nice in my opinion. This one, another one from Africa as well. Again, you know, the lines and so on that he's using is superb, I think. This one is, I think, typifies a little bit. It's not the image that we're showing, but it typifies what we're all doing in our cohort, all walking towards something in our journey, and we're all taking slightly different paths, but we can see each other, and we're all there. And I love this for the story that he's telling here. This one is leading into where we're going in a sec, and the colours here, we don't see this sort of thing in Australia, but it's a beautiful image. Before I show the image that I'm presenting today for us, there's a bit of a backstory to it, and I think the fathers in the audience will appreciate this, that the love of a father is something that's particularly special. And this image here is the image showing from Mike. Our cohort selected this, and it's shot with a Sony A7R, but it's also shot with a Leica lens, an f1.4, and it brings back so many memories to when Mike was a child with his father. And when his father passed away a couple of years ago, Mike tries to do many of the things that he learned with his dad, and this is one that brings back many memories for Mike. And the technical thing about this is an HDR with 30 frames. And so when you actually zoom in on it, it is superb. The mill, the detail is absolutely superb. So I think the love of a father shines through in this image, and there we go.
Wow. Karen, you're going to like that one. But you are last.
Mm-hmm.
That was
up,
30 frame HDR, is that what you said?
That's correct. Yep, 30 frames. So obviously multiple rows.
Wow. Okay. Jessica, you're up first.
I really love this image. I think it's beautiful, and I'm always really impressed with the HDR images and the whole process. I just think it requires such incredible skill, and one that I do not have. This looks like a postcard to me, or like a painting that you would find at a lodge. It's beautiful. It shows off all the colors. You know, it has the elements of the leaves and the water, and I love the dichotomy that there's a little bit of that human element and building, but still not overtaking the nature. I just think it's beautiful all around. I don't even have any negative critique for it. This makes me want to go and stay there.
Awesome. Okay, Ollie, you're up.
Okay. Yeah, the technique of getting this is beautiful. It's obviously an awesome place, and I love the textures and the colors you've got through the whole image. It's really great. I think for me, I would have pushed the camera forward. The rock that's in the foreground is large and dominates too much of this image. I think I would push forward. In fact, when you zoomed in to show us the detail, you kind of confirmed what I'd been thinking, which was, for me, the image is a pano through the middle of this. I don't necessarily need to see the sky. All the interest is the waterfall and the trees and the hut. So I would have cropped that slightly different and potentially moved a bit forward.
All right. Good feedback. And Don, you're up.
You know, I think Ollie makes a great point about the rock in the foreground. That element is sort of the foreground place. That's where you start to look at the scene, or you end there. I mean, it's one of those anchor points that you will be looking at, but I don't know if it's particularly rewarding. You know, if there was a young child or something sitting on that rock, it would echo the sentiment that that the photographer had felt. Now, we don't have young children following us around at all times to stick it in photographs as props, and I understand that. But you know, having something more dynamic in the foreground, I think would help solidify the image. And maybe that means that the foreground should shift to be just the waterfall, and that would be moving forward and taking that into consideration. Anything that could make that rock in the foreground stand out and be a bit more dynamic would be great. One other quick point is the top left corner. The tree is, at least on my screen, is looking rather black. There's not a lot of detail, especially if it's a 30-shot HDR. And so I'd almost want to see, even if it's faint details, something within the tree in the upper left.
Very cool. Okay, K-Hut.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, I think, you know, as you pointed out, Trey, I love it because of the story, and I'm all about story. So for me, the rock in the middle that everybody's been talking about just isn't quite telling the story for me. But the hut and the other rock up there and the water and the trees, that's the story of Dad. The sky's not particularly beautiful, so I might have cropped down and kind of eliminated some of that because I don't think that adds a whole lot. But you know, we're fine-tuning and fine-picking it here because I think he chose a wonderful subject and wonderful colors, and the warmth and the water and everything just really does it. Just would like to lose the rock and would like to not see as much of the sky.
All right, fantastic. Great image, by the way, Mike. I haven't seen that one. Usually
it really is.
I keep up with, you know, people that I know. I kind of keep up with their images, even though I don't always have a chance to comment on them. But I hadn't seen that one. That's great.
Yeah.
Winner, chicken dinner, Mike. I do agree with that rock comment, though. If you just would have got up on that rock,
yeah,
good. Maybe cut off the minor complaints. It's still an amazing shot, though.
Can I make a point about that? I think we need to always remember when a subject like that is a story, what are the only elements you need to tell that story, and get rid of everything else, regardless of what proper photography would say, which says you need to have something in the foreground. Well, maybe not. Maybe all you need is these elements that tell that story, the end. That's all I want to say.
Very good. Okay, Karen, you are up.
Yep. I have to share differently. I'm in a different setup here today, so pray for me. It's going to be interesting. That's all I have to say.
You are always a consummate professional.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do my best here. I'll tell you. Okay, so I usually do this in Lightroom. So this is Glenn Orsac right here is one of my apprentices. He's not super, you know, he's not a super advanced photographer. He just has such heart and such soul in his work that I absolutely adore. This is him with his family. He, in fact, I'm going to back up for 1 second. He is actually the director of leadership training at Telfer School of Management in the University of Ottawa. So he is like leadership, life coach, like brainiac guy is all about the journey. You know how Trey, you know how I love this. The man is like, you know, unto my heart. So he's always about a journey. He also shares love of the mighty tree and lines, which is pretty cool, I think. So these are just some of his images that I liked. This bridge in the mist, and he waited for this, you know, to get this image as the fog was lifting. Nice eye for line. And his daughter is his muse, and I just love how he placed her here. So he's always telling a story, and there's always some nice, strong, geometric, you know, drawing pattern, like drawing you forward type of pattern in his work, which I find really, really interesting. And I love to see his work and see what he comes up with next for that very reason. So this, and this is another one that I thought was really interesting. But this begins there's 4 of these. This is a Beb oak in the, what is it called? The Arboretum in Ottawa. And it's an incredible oak tree. It's ginormous. It's like a person doesn't even come up practically to the bottom branch. And this tree is sort of like another one of his muses. And because he is who he is, and because our cohort is who they are, they're always talking about you know, the tree that carries all the meaning of the universe. It's like an ecosystem, an expression of the deepest mystery of our existence, the unity and the interrelation of all things. That, by the way, Trey, was a quote by Thomas Berry, who was a Catholic priest of the Passionate Order, which I wanted to quote him because of you for that very reason, because your Arcanum is your Passionate Order. And he was a cultural historian and eco-theologian, which I didn't know existed. So what Glenn says is his life goes 1,000,000 miles an hour, but every time he stands under this tree, and he made his project be this tree in 4 seasons, you know, he thinks about what's underneath the surface and what in our nature is unrevealed, that will be revealed, that nourishes our soul and our progress. And that even as the seasons of the year change, it's like he asks himself and the people around him, you know, what is important to stay constant, to keep you grounded, that represents your structure, your roots, and your trunk, and what parts can you let fall away? And so this is the one that I want to submit, because this is the fall, this is the autumn tree, the Beb tree. The whole cohort got behind this one because they're like, this is like our cohort. We're so connected. We're so grounded. There's a huge infrastructure, you know, holding us together. But we all have our own expression. We're all going different directions, and you know, the fruits of our labors are beautiful and amazing, and yet we're cohesive. And this is exactly why Glenn loves his tree. And we always love his wonderful way of putting things. And with that little bench there, it's just such a treat. And I always keep coming back to this tree because I love it. And I think it stands alone in addition to the story about it. And I admire it from someone who hasn't been doing photography that long and is just beginning to discover the artist within him. And it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Very nice presentation, Karen Lee Hutton.
Why, thank you, Trey.
I never knew that was your middle name, Lee.
Raymond Trey Ratcliff. Yes, that is my middle name.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, there's always more layers to your Cinnabon, Karen.
Well, you know, my Cinnabon is there for the layering or something.
Okay, Jessica, critique.
I love the terminology she had where she said, what in our nature is unrevealed, and I think that this image is very much the essence of that, and it kind of has that feeling. It was actually bothering me a little bit at first that there's so much green for a fall image up top, but now I'm kind of liking the dichotomy because it gives this almost illumination to the base of the trunk of the tree, and I think that most of the time we're paying attention to the branches and the leaves, but you know, the fruit is nothing without the roots, so I think there's a lot of really strong symbolism. I actually am not a fan of the bench, though. I think it detracts away from the magnitude of the tree. I'd like to see it without that or the road, because I think it's really strong by itself. But I love the lighting of it. and I think it's a really interesting take without looking over-processed. Like, it looks like it's just kind of glowing on its own. I take
Very
it.
good. Hey, before we go to Ollie, Gino, did you have some commentary on the commentary?
Well, no, not fit for public consumption. I just, once again, I appreciate the K. Hutton-ness of the esoteric commentary. I found myself wanting to lay on a couch and talk about my father and my childhood during all of that, but you know, whatever. She uses for 30 seconds and 10 minutes like she always does, and she fills them. So good job.
Wait, am I supposed to be critiqued or the photo?
We're going meta here. Going meta. Okay, Don Cheadle, go.
All right. You know, I like a lot of stuff about this photograph. There's a few things, like the bench was mentioned, and it would be an interesting series if he was sitting on the bench the entire time. You know, in each one of these, in snow gear, in fall clothes, and you know, shorts and a t-shirt through the various seasons, and it would add maybe a different kind of connection, but it would be a different story. It would be more about the connection between him and the tree, and not just the tree. And so the bench either has to be more prominent or gone. But I'm looking around the image. My eyes kind of wander to the edges of the frame, and the one branch right center at the top, that's a bit distracting because it's a bit dark. You know, my eye goes right there. And the same thing for the one a little bit further towards the upper right and some of those darker leaves. If that was a bit more balanced, then all of the lines leading to the trunk would have more equality, and it would be easier to just kind of wander around the scene. Oh, and I want to also add, this would be the most kick-ass picture in infrared. He should try it.
I'll tell him. He's probably watching. Just remember that. Don't be nervous, though.
All right. Les, you're up.
Sure. You know what? I really like this. I actually think I prefer a couple of the others that you showed previously, Karen, but it's got a nice feeling to it. I agree with Don with respect to you know, a couple of branches are a little dark, but the one or two little things that really I wonder is on the left edge of the image. You know, you can see where the fence line is and the brightness just above it. And I would love to see this if he stood on a box that was maybe 12 inches taller, just to create some separation between the tree and the top of the bench. That's it.
All right, very cool. Okay, so now comes, because people tend to forget what they originally saw, we will now do a final pitch for your apprentice, but we'll go in reverse order. Karen, go ahead, you can show your photo. Actually, everyone can share their photos right now, if you like, and we'll continue to share your photos as the voting takes place. But before the vote, I want everyone to give sort of a final pitch on their, maybe 10, 15 seconds, just to remind us, surprise us. You need to get the other masters to vote on this. So it's all up to you now, Karen. Go.
Well, I know it's not a perfect image. I actually would fight for that bench because I think that what we always want is to sew these images up, and this leaves it open for the next person, and it's the blue sky of the whole thing. And I love the fall because it's the time where what are you going to let fall away? What are you going to let renew and grow? And that is a lot like the Arcanum itself, which is new stories being revealed, a place where you can have big thoughts and little thoughts and be in a state of awe the entire time. So I love this for so many reasons on so many levels, and it just represents all of us in every which way and what we're doing here.
Thank you, Keha. That was very nice of you. Okay, Les, you are up.
Okay. As you've seen, you know, this is an image that shows so much with the story that Mike has with it. You mentioned the rock, and I understand that, but I think it also articulates the strength and the foundation of a father's love and what it means for a son to see that and be a part of that. And it does, it supports everything about the way this image works. So I love it, Mike. I really do.
All right, excellent. Don K.
Well, when I'm looking at this image, I see a lot of creative inspiration, just a spark of It's unintentional, but it's got that creative choice in that in what we're presenting here in the shot that has been taken away from this the shooting experience and has been earmarked as the best because it shows something that's outside the box, and we all need to think further and further outside the box when it comes to creating unique and captivating images, and I think this one is a great example of just that.
Cool. Ollie Dale.
Am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay, good. So the image on the right that's Stu's sharing at the moment, that's the image we're judging. This is the behind-the-scenes shot on the left. Thanks for that, Stu. In backing up against some of those comments that were thrown at this before, the jump itself is called a C jump. So if we could see more of the other leg or more of the other arm, that would probably be an F or an E or a Q jump, and that's not what we're going for here. This is a C jump. So I think they've nailed it. This is a shape, this is an idea, this is a concept. It's used a model to get that concept across. It's all shot in camera, there's no compositing. It doesn't need to be about this particular person. Yeah, you can see a chin, but that's, it adds to the mystery. So, you guys can flick your ones and twos around to other people, but your three silver talents should be hitting this way.
As I recognize it as a C jump immediately, so.
You would, Gino. You're one of those people, man.
His C, no, but really, Gino's
of understanding by the others.
Gino's C jumps have improved immensely.
Yeah, mine are more like D minor jumps, but that's all right.
Okay, Jessica, go for it.
The bottom line is that all of the images that are in, they all deserve to win. Almost as much as Martin's does. This image is just, it's provoking and it's strong and it's passionate and she has so much power and she has to, and this is something that I'm always striving to teach and to see, especially I think while the paint and the design is really intricate, it's actually really, really difficult to pull this off because she has to shine brighter than all of that so that the artistry doesn't overpower the model, and she's just giving it to the camera with everything she has. It's very visually provocative, and I think that really denotes mastery, which is what we're pushing to teach here. And this image just wows me as the teacher. Like, I'm honored to say that this is an apprentice in my cohort, and I just don't think that this could not win.
Plus, bonus points should be given for being able to get a celebrity and former heavyweight boxing champion as your subject. So.
All right, you guys. I am now entering my own personal cone of silence. I think we all know the images now, so you can unscreen share if you wish. I'm now going to chat each of you the little voting form, which is consistently messed up week after week after week.
Trey, I know you're excited for me to send you mom.
As I try to tabulate the results, Jessica Lark still holds the record for the most confusing. There were so many hanging chads on Jessica's ballot that it took a whole forensics team to extrapolate her actual votes.
If you're getting a repeated problem, Trey, is it the people or is it the explanation and the system?
Well, no,
I don't know. I'm just asking. It's just a question.
I'll be happy to take the blame for any confusion. I'm refining this thing every week. You can now read it on your own and tell me if you find it confusing. See, you made this like The Voice. You made this like The Voice, which gets us all feeling a little cantankerous. And so, you're at the other end of the barrel sometimes. So I'm sorry. It's The Voice. It's cantankerous fine. Red. Okay, Gino.
Cantankerous should be one of the taboo words. That's an awesome word that does not get used enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Gino, lead us here while the judges are busy voting.
All right. So what did you guys think was? I think the most interesting thing is the pictures that the masters show that is not the image they're going to show, that they're gonna use. Like every week, they'll scroll by some image, and you'll hear the other people all kind of like go, you know, all this oohing and ahhing going on, and then they roll by and they go to some other more disappointing image. So
yeah, actually that's an interesting point. I kind of like the idea of showing a variety of images from the Apprentice, but that is a possible downside. You're right, because well, you know, we all like different kinds of things. We can't, you know, you can't help what you love, and so I think there is a potential downside for showing a lot of images from an Apprentice, because you'd be like, oh, I really like that one. They should have shown that one. And the more that you show, the more likely you are to disappoint.
Right. So what I think is interesting is how many of these apprentices would have won if they had just, their master had just shown the right image. You know, your master let you down. You could have snatched pebbles from hands, but no, your master's fat hands got in the way. That's what I think.
Okay, I have a successful vote that has come in from Ollie Dale. Even though he is on his phone, he has given me the right kind of vote.
Ollie is a true professional.
By the way, let me explain how the voting works for those in the audience that don't know how the voting works. So each of the masters has been given 5 silver talents. Okay, this is a unit of currency in a book I recommend called The Name of the Wind. They use these 5 silver talents to vote on different pictures. Okay, they cannot vote on their own picture. This should go without saying, but I say it anyway. And they can give no more than 3 of the silver talents to any individual work of art. Okay, just that simple. Still, always massive confusion, though.
Always.
All right, you guys keep talking amongst yourselves while I spend 10 minutes trying to add this stuff up.
We're putting the vote in your text, right?
Yes, Karen Hutton, correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Trey Ratcliff.
All of a sudden, we're formal now.
We're covering the gamut. We're doing it all. We're leaving nothing behind. It's all going to end up on the stage.
Perfect. That's the way it should be.
I broke my
think.
talent down into jots just to make it interesting for Trey this time. It's all in decimals.
Apparently,
You know, if I'm on again, I'm going to have to use Morse code.
So we're using the same format you're giving it. We're just filling in the number, right?
Yes, you replace the X with a number. That number
That's what I
being
thought.
0, 1, 2, or 3.
And we have to give away all 5 talents. Is that right, Trey?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
what
must
if-
spend all your talents. It's like when you die in the game Defender before you use all of your smart bombs. You don't want that to ever happen.
So pop culture of you, Trey.
Yeah, well, 80s pop culture.
Yeah. More
Is there
accurate.
any other?
Yeah. Is there any?
Now-
No, there's not.
Trey, I would like it to be noted in the next Creation Wars that I did it correctly this time, because all of my apprentices were giving me a hard time about the fact that you called me out as the most difficult person to understand and that I couldn't do it.
Do you guys? Hey, Gino, what was the format that Jessica sent it to me in?
Well, I think she just sent you like 1-1-2-3. I mean, it was like Morse or code, and there was no way to decipher. I mean,
It was
even knowing
binary
what her
code.
vote was, there was no way to know what it meant.
I'm gonna do a recreation here in Evernote of what she sent.
Yeah. Plus, they were all jumbled together. There was no proper spacing. It was, you know, you couldn't tell. You know, was it 1-12 or was it 1-1-2? Couldn't tell.
Listen, I'm just taking it seriously, and I wanted Trey to take it seriously and to give me his undivided attention. So I made it more difficult so he had to concentrate on it.
Well, it's
I
good.
really-
We just spent the last 3 weeks practicing.
I just threw a whole bunch of numbers because I just wanted to pay attention to K-Hut anyway. I just couldn't tear myself
now
up.
I'm sharing my screen. This is what Jessica gave me last time. Now,
I'm
up
never
here
going to lift this down.
is what I send to each of the apprentices.
That
okay?
is not what you sent me.
And I want them to fill in a number where the X is. Now Jessica sends me this, and I go, "Are these your measurements?"
They're ratios. They're listen. Although I gotta be fair, like now that I'm looking at it, I don't know what I wrote either.
Yeah.
It's a ratio scale.
Why does Ollie get a full last name? We all get initials. Ollie gets his full
Actually, I was
last name.
thinking about that because
He doesn't have enough God.
Ollie's name just flows like the wind through the trees. It's first and last all the time.
One of my best friend's daughters, who's 4 years old, or no, she's now 7, but they've always called me Karen Hutton. It's not Karen, it's not Auntie Karen, it's Karen Hutton. And then Joe's name, my husband, is just Joe. So it's Karen Hutton and Joe. So I just prefer to think of it as rock star status, Ollie. So don't let them rattle your cage.
Oh, they're not rattling. You know, it's just that one. It's one word. It's just got a space in the middle.
You should have left it where I left it. It was better. I had your back, and then you dropped your drawers. I don't know. What are you doing?
Pretty much all of my logins are Ollie Dale. So you pretty much go to any social media website --Ollie Dale, and that's me.
Oh, it's not getting better, really. So, okay.
Karen Hunt, well, I appreciate your witty repartee. Oh, here come your votes. That's what I was about to ask for.
Don't bug me. You know, it's a sensitive. And then I was sitting here wondering, should I send them one at a time? Should I put them all in one? I wasn't really sure.
Trying to take
Does that work for
Jessica's
you?
crown off her, are you?
Do you want me to divide
in
them
the
up?
after show, I will show you the format in which Karen's votes came into me.
So now he doesn't like mine. He like doles out the explanation, the instructions like a week at a time. You get one piece of instruction, and the next week you get another piece. By week 10, we'll actually know how this is supposed to go, which is awesome. It's just how
you guys seriously need to talk for 5 or 6 minutes while I figure this out.
I just wonder
Do you want me
if
to send him?
all the confusion would disappear if we stopped calling them talents and turned to points. Everything would work out.
Yeah, I think the confusing nature of the voting is actually part of Trey's master plan. He enjoys it. I think he intentionally. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
He's intentionally sending confusing formats so that he's actually hoping you screw it up so that he can go, oh my God, these masters, what's wrong with them?
He's really good at
What happens is...
I know. Exactly.
What happens is he
the
chooses a
jokes
winner
for it.
himself, and then he just confuses us to the point where no one can argue with the fact that the one he chooses is the winner.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Trey already decided who's won, and now he's just trying to figure out how can I make the stuff they sent me equal what I decided. That's what.
That's what takes him so long. What about the Twitter votes? Are there Twitter votes? Are you adding Twitter votes in there too? Is that something we're talking about, or are we not supposed to talk about that either?
Here, please do not address the tabulator during this period.
I didn't say
I've been doing a people's choice. I've been doing a people's choice on Twitter, if you're interested. But just bearing in mind that the people that are following are pretty much from Karen Hutton's cohort. So as far as yes, are concerned,
I had Cohort awesomeness strikes again.
Yeah,
I love it. I love you guys.
So wait, I feel like we need to announce that at the beginning. How do people add their people's choice? Are they hashtagging something on Twitter, or are they?
I'm sorry, I
tagging
should have
the
said
Arcanum
something.
page?
We did try something new this week. Once you explain what was happening, Tiff, and next week, actually, when I introduce you, you can explain this from the get-go. Okay?
I came up with this idea a couple of hours before the show, which is why it's a little bit testing it out. And so
only let Karen know.
No,
I didn't. I posted the link to all of the apprentices in the Arcanum. And so, and it was just the luck of the draw. There's also Mackenzie Gossard joined us for a while from Jessica Lark's cohort. And there are a couple of others from some of the other cohorts. So, Yeah. And so yeah, in future everybody will hashtag Creation Wars, whatever the episode number is, and yeah.
What?
Sorry.
Yeah, Ollie was doing his Max Headroom imitation right there.
I was saying Mackenzie's awesome, but she's totally biased.
You know what I think is
obviously everybody else is totally neutral, not biased at all.
I think what
if anyone was going to be biased, Mackenzie would be the biased of all biased.
Does that make her the biasest?
The biasest.
Biasest.
I don't know, Ollie. I think you're biased against her.
No, I love her. I think she's awesome.
I think that's a good special.
You and your cohort.
That's also a biased opinion.
That's a good special skill for a resume. You know, special skills, biasist. You know, can drive a stick shift.
For someone to be biased, I am your girl.
I like how Jessica. Actually, she comes across when you look at her on screen. She's all warm. She's wearing her sweater, and she seems all nice and everything. But if you're really paying attention during the show, you can see she's really not that nice. You notice that how she kind of snapped there. She was like, "Really? Shouldn't we have been told this before the show started, Trey?" You could see she's holding it back. The anger.
Look, listen. I have been like rocking a fever of 103 all week, and I am here. And my husband got home 2 days ago, and I am here with you guys because I love you all. I'm a really nice person. Once you get around it, this is like my sixth.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If I had just gotten back from Afghanistan and you were doing the show, I wouldn't be too happy with you.
I bought him a new $2,000 drum set, so he's playing with new toys. That's how I got away with it.
Very nice.
He's got other things to bang right now. He's very happy.
Oh, ow. Anyway, with that in
Clearly,
mind.
Jessica, you're in Gino's crosshairs tonight.
I know. He's really.
I know.
It's biased. It's total bias.
He's a biasist. You know,
Yeah.
he's not a bassist. He's a biasist. It's very.
He's a biasist.
Different.
I mastered in biastery, so.
That's a fact. I don't think anybody's arguing that.
Yes. I just came out weird. I didn't mean it to come out that way, but anyway.
Sure you did.
Gino's like, she's kind of nice once you get to know her around like the tough exterior. That's basically like saying, she's kind of a bitch, but you'll get used to it.
I didn't even think anybody would get used to it. I wouldn't say that. And look at Don. What's a Don? This is like the most quiet you've ever been in your life.
You know what? It's a great panel, and I'm enjoying the discussions here. I'm just sitting back and listening.
Yeah, I remember
He's
in the
smart.
old show, I'd have to do like rock, paper, scissors to get a word in when you were on the show, man. You were just blasting away.
Well,
he
give me the spot. What was that, Karen?
No, I was going to say, you take one look at this group and you're like, I'm going to stay really freaking quiet over here because maybe they won't notice me. Little did you know, Gino just goes down the line.
And if you watch his icon at the bottom, he's like just watching a tennis match. Like, I just keep watching him go back and forth.
If I get the spotlight later, you'll have a hard time shutting me up, so I'll give you that.
Yep. Plus, what the people watching the show can't see is our little chats going on over here, and we're definitely noticing that Don is the king of the polite insult. Like nobody insults you more softly than Don. Like you actually feel like you got complimented. For a fat guy, you have a really nice voice. Oh, thank you. That's awesome.
A few more episodes of the Creation Wars, I think he'll get over that. I think he's got like some badassery underneath that very sweet exterior.
No, you know what? There is no better insult than a polite insult. I think that's the best way to dig at people because it's very hard to find a rebuttal for it.
He said but, and you're young, and that's okay. We love you for that. We love that you said a word with but in it because I think you get extra points. Gino, does he not get extra points for that?
Yes, he does. He's actually earned the Sir John Gielgud Award for polite insulting. So, you remember? Anybody see the old movie Arthur? Not the new movie, but the original.
Yes.
And Sir John Gielgud was his butler, and the whole movie, he was just constantly insulting everybody. But he said it so nice that nobody recognized. Like he tells lies and
make
belly.
that a thing? Like, who has the best nice insult in each of the creation wars? Like, I feel like we're gonna start having all these little side competitions behind the scenes.
You know, Jessica,
I don't think you're gonna win that one, Jessica.
I won't win that one. I will lose that
neither
one
you
every
nor I
time.
will win that.
That's not true, K-Hut. I just bring out the worst in you, but you're actually normally pretty polite. You're a very polite person, like annoying.
Really?
He just told you you are not on my level. Listen, when you put you next to Jay Lark, you're a sweetheart, okay? Nobody's stopping me.
Yeah, well, nobody's going to confuse you for Jay Lark. We know that Karen Hutton can be nice. We don't know this about Jessica.
You next to me, Karen, is like me next to Gino. That's the...
What?
I didn't even get that.
I think she was trying to say that she's just not as pretty as me. I think that's what she was saying.
Nobody can be as pretty as you, Gino. But then again, I'm biased.
Ah, yes.
Okay, I got a joke for you. Gino, I got a joke for you.
Go ahead.
I used my lifeline because this is going downhill fast. So I used my lifeline. This is what my lifeline gave me. A woman gets on a bus with her baby. The bus driver says, "Oh, that is the ugliest baby I've ever seen." The woman walks to the rear of the bus and sits down. She's fuming. She says to a man next to her, "The driver just insulted me." The man says, "You go up there and you tell him off. Go on. I'll hold your monkey for you."
I love it.
Yeah. That's what you have a lifeline for. K-Hut, cohort of awesomeness. Thank you.
That's good use of cohortery there.
Yeah, so you got it. I got my cohortions out there waiting, and good cohortery is hard to find.
Yep, especially these days. So have you ever noticed? We'll just use Jessica for an example here, since I'm picking on you. But like certain words. Yeah, see, Don has mastered the linguistic skills, even though this is his first time on the Arcanum. See, Jessica, you're a veteran.
He's not talking? How would you know that? He doesn't talk anyway. But
I've been on plenty of previous shows with Don, so I know that the man is verbally, linguistically gifted. He's a gymnast. But there's certain words that you can use that actually, when you say them, they don't rhyme. But when you sing them, they rhyme. So I don't know if you've ever like, for example, see, are you there, Jessica?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Your screen was locking up on me there. So if you say the word gullible and you say the word forestry, they don't sound the same. But if you sing them, they sound the same. Try it.
Say it again. Wait, what are the rules?
If you sing them, if you sing the word gullible and sing the word forestry, they sound the same. So just sing gullible for a second.
Gullible.
All right, thank you. Anyway.
Karen has a way better voice than I do.
So even though that was the joke.
Yeah. I'm just trying to kill time here.
You're killing it.
See, I can't join in the jokes.
Time is screaming in agony, Gino. You're killing it. Trust me.
Trey's gonna need at least another 27 minutes to figure out all the binary code and carry.
Trey like a numbers guy? Isn't he like the mathematician in the crowd?
So
he likes to pretend.
I do have the results. Actually, I had them a few minutes ago. I was reading I was letting you guys just have your fun in your romper room, but I was checking the Twitter stream, and we have a tweet here from Glenn Orsac. And he goes, "My kids are suggesting that Trey ask his 5-year-old daughter to add up the results."
Yeah.
Probably get it done faster.
Okay,
I'll tell you what.
In the after show, I will paste to you what Karen sent to me, and you can sense my confusion. It caused a lot of. In fact, I thought because of a mispaste.
No, you said you were not going to share votes.
Well, I change the rules all the time. But,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I thought
hold
that.
On. Let me. Wait. Hold on. I got to write this down.
Okay, write that down.
Changes.
The rules are mine to change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's very fluid. It's very fluid.
Now, does that mean I've been replaced as the worst vote sender, the worst talent sender?
No.
Karen couldn't compete. I'm still number 1.
No, the Rosetta Stone could not have interpreted what you had said to me, Jessica.
Well, listen, I'm just going to take that advice then, and I'm going to have my 9-year-old tally my votes and send it to you next time.
Yeah, Trey, I didn't insult you. I didn't insult you. I was trying to follow. I haven't done anything to you. Why would you do this to me?
No, I just wanted people to know some of the confusion that I had to deal with in the back.
You've covered that. You're confused. It's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to lash back at people just because you're hurt.
So in my first tabulation, which turned out to be wrong, I had to do 2 more to make sure that I was right. I thought I was going to have to invoke my special power to be the tiebreaker, but in fact, I do not have to be the tiebreaker because the results are solid. There is a definite winner. But the winner only won. Actually, I've never seen a vote this close. The winner only won by 1 vote, and there's a 2-way tie for second place, which I've never seen before. And it goes to show the power that these masters have, that even just like throwing one talent one way, like, I don't know what to do with this talent, I'll just kind of throw it over here. Well, you could have just swayed the winner in a way you didn't predict. All right, this is where the gamesmanship comes in.
Nice.
Right? As always, I never say who's second place, third place, fourth place, fifth place. All that matters is the winner. Okay, and the losers can just eat their tears and make themselves more awesome and come back a later week. The winner this week. The winner this week by 1 vote is Jessica Lark and Martin Higgs. Yay! Yay! All right, so good job, you guys. Actually, very cool images. I can see people had trouble voting, picking their favorite one, but really, I enjoyed seeing everything very much. That was awesome. Thank you.
You know what? I think it's actually more impressive when it's a really close vote because there were some really good images this one. So I like it when it's close. I feel like it's a little bit more of a compliment.
Was that your victory speech?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, keep it short. That's good.
And your apprentice should be very proud of you because you were representing with 1 wing damage this week, and you still helped bring home the cake.
I didn't have to do anything. That image speaks for itself. But if you guys would like to applaud his victory, you can come and see him teach how to create images like that in London, and I'm just going to be along for the ride because it's really going to be his mastery, I think. I think that the student is going to surpass the teacher.
Hey, Karen, I know you have to run. Now comes the part of the show where people can share some images they've taken recently or in the past and just talk about them. Do you have a few you'd like to share with us?
I have a few. Just I don't know, just some stuff I've been working on. Don't know
By the way, that train image was out of sight.
Thank you. I have that in this group because
Good. I can't wait for people to see that thing. That was amazing.
Wait, oh great. Where's my? Oh, here it is. Whoa! This is a mess. I know. That's the last one, though.
Don Komarechka likes that shot, don't you, Don?
I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna start. Here.
I love that, but let's see more.
Okay. He's like, yeah, I don't know. That thing on the lower right's a little dark for me. Is this a little dark for you, Don?
No, it's intentional. It's you've got a nice high contrast look here. It's not like it's a bad thing, but if there's one black blotch, then it becomes something distracting. I don't find anything distracting. I
gotta write that down because this is a show full of notes to take. I gotta tell you, writing this down. Thank you. No, I'm giving you a hard time because we've never met and because I just want to noogie the top of your head so much I can hardly stand it. So I love you.
We can meet in person, then we can make this happen.
Sure. When we meet, Noogie is on. Okay. So that's something I was playing with right there. Oh, which is the cloisters, by the way, in New York City. So this was another thing that I did in the fall, and this is at about 9,000 or 10,000 feet, I think, up in these eastern Sierra Nevada mountains near North Lake. Kind of nice, messing around, just kind of making some fun stuff. This was in Central Park. These trees and these people. Oh, and then I was playing around with doing it in color as well as black and white, just because that's entertaining. Same thing here. I was taking a picture. I was like, and this homeless person or whoever this is just very kindly wandered into my shot, which was like, oh, that's awesome. Because I'm trying to, when I'm in cities, I'm trying to take more photos with people in them because I tend to avoid them.
You
So
could
then
have
I
just given a
processed
great
it.
insult to the person that might live in that building.
Well, you didn't see the rest of them and kind of watch them for a while to see what they did, and if they can afford to live in that building, then more power to them.
Karen, I think that's a great example of a shot that's made with that one extra element. It just really makes that shot.
Which extra? Oh, the person?
The person, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought too, and I thought, well, this will be interesting, but it needs a person, and I didn't really feel like asking someone, and that person just like took their time and wandered, and I went, thank you for taking all that time. And then I was just messing around with stationary, the tree versus the moving leaf, communicating movement in a still photo. I don't know why that day was kind of attracting me, so I did that. And then there's my train. So the story about this train that just still it cracks me up to this day. So these are real clouds that I used, from other photos, and I did, obviously it's not real. The train is real, but anyway, so I did this thing. So I thought I just kind of like made up this story in my mind. This train is interdimensional, and it's dropped in, and it's going to take off again. And it's like traveling, and it's like it's steaming because it's in other dimensions. Yeah, that's what it is. And what would that look like? And so anyway, just had a field day one day, just messing around with it. And then I posted it, and there were lots of good comments. Don't get me wrong, it was really. But what was so hilarious was there were two people who didn't like this. They were just mortally offended because one of them, my favorite comment was, because they were saying I was too busy in the clouds and the harumph harumph, and then one of them said it wouldn't look like that. And I went, you have seen an interdimensional train drop in from another dimension, get ready to take off again? I want to meet you. Do you have a picture of that? But they didn't, and they didn't answer me.
Well, obviously, they've never seen an interdimensional train entering and exiting, because that is what it looks like.
Thank you. I had someone else tell me that today when I told that story. In fact, I posted it over on Facebook, and I said, please don't tell me that it wouldn't look like this, because we're all just going to laugh at you, and if you actually have, I do want to meet you. Anyway, that's what I got, just stuff that I've been messing around with lately.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Awesome, awesome. Who wants to go next? I always go last.
Me. I'm going to go next.
Go.
I've got to go, so I can't share anything from my mobile phone anyway. So lovely seeing you all, and well done, and we'll see you next time. Hey, Trey, what's going on next week?
What is going on next week? Next week is a regular show. We started inviting the masters. We're not sure what's going to happen, but in a few weeks, Ollie, you're going to be guest hosting, taking my spot and having a little witty repartee with Gino Barassa. I am going to be in Antarctica for 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm going to put you in charge while the cat is away.
Wait a minute,
Awesome.
Trey. You're going to be in Antarctica right about December 25th? I knew it. You're Santa Claus, aren't you?
Now, the North Pole is, if you know your mythology, it's the North Pole.
Trey's the anti-Santa.
Yeah, but that's just to throw everybody off. He really comes from the South Pole. Everybody knows this.
Exactly. Otherwise, you'd have people knocking on his door, stealing all of his toys. He needs to put up a cover.
Come on. Why do you think the guy's never been found? It's Trey. I knew it. All right.
Yeah. And by the way,
so Ollie will be guest hosting then. Well,
Ollie
thank
Dale.
you for joining.
Ollie, it's Ollie Dale. Don't forget. Ollie Dale. One word. Ollie Dale.
Ollie Dale.
Ollie Dale.
Ollie Dale. Ollie Dale, you are a joy and a delight.
And a pirate.
Of you. And a
I'll
pirate.
noogie your head too. You know what? Noogie Dawn. Hashtag Noogie Dawn. It's trending on Twitter right now.
Okay, well, we'll see you later, Beardy McGreen Eyes.
All right. Patches. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Did he call me Patches?
I think
Yeah, I thought he did. Okay, who wants to share photos next?
I'd like to share photos.
Go ahead,
Question.
Gino.
Will I be able to is the real question.
Yes, you can.
No.
Show us these camp pictures, Gino.
Yeah, I'm just all right. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, Gino, you pick who shares next. Some of you guys know Belle Jones. She is coming over and bringing all of her stuff, so I gotta get things set up for her. Okay. So go ahead, Gino.
I will. So anyway, all right. So if you can see this, that's the place where we were camping, and the colors were really unusual in Texas. Normally, we don't get these really bright fall colors because it's just hot here all the time. And in order to get bright colors, you have to have a freeze. So we had a very unusual event happen in Texas, which is we had a freeze the week before Thanksgiving. And so when we went camping, it warmed back up, but all of the trees just were on fire. And I swear to you, I really did not adjust very much at all, other than just maybe a little sharpness and things like that. But these colors really were just straight out of camera. This is all just basic Lightroom adjustments here. And I mostly tried to shoot, all of our friends were there. We had about 100 people that are friends of ours camping with us, and all of their kids were there, so I focused on shooting pictures of their kids for them. And so that's what all of these are. That's my son, Jake. And he, that's his old Daniel Boone cap that he likes to wear when we go camping.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, he's very, very happy in this picture. This is a friend of ours who we were there for a week. I was actually there 10 days, and she would not allow me to photograph her. She was very self-conscious, so I had to sneak around, and this was as close as I got. It was like trying to shoot a Yeti. You know, it was just, you just don't get very good shots, but I really liked this one because she has that kind of vulnerable look on her face where you can tell she's kind of shy and not comfortable having her picture taken, and it all kind of comes across in this picture, and I really liked it. This, on the other hand, is a very confident, hormonal teenage boy who thought he was very handsome, and he was constantly posing. Anytime he'd see me with a camera, he would strike a pose and just sit in that pose until I took his picture.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he would never say anything, but he would just do it. You know, he would immediately start flexing, you know. So that was fun. This is a friend of ours, Sloan, and she has beautiful green eyes, so I kept waiting for the sun to get in just the right spot, and so I could capture the greenness of her eyes. And this is another friend of ours, Jessica Wigley, and you can see she likes to pose too, so that's okay. I don't mind people posing. But they were all beautiful youth that are so beautiful you can't hardly get away from them. They're also so pretty and handsome, and so I really don't like shooting people that much. That's not what I like to do, but I really got into it by the end of the week, you know, going around and trying to capture the kids' essence, you know, what were they about and what picture would best capture that, and then giving it to their parents, and I had a lot of fun doing that. So anyway, those are some images that I enjoyed.
Those are great. Those are great, Gino.
I like the backgrounds that you had behind most of them too. You had a lot of those fall colors coming in, taking advantage of that, sure, but it was really focused on the subject. You know, there was less distraction in behind, and I don't know if it was intentional that you were paying attention to the background, but they all came across very clean, very concise, and I liked them.
Yeah, thanks. I actually did. I also, just as a way of learning, I took a lens that I don't like. And I decided I'm just going to shoot this whole week with this lens at a very low f-stop, so that I'll have these beautiful little bokeh colors in the background and be able to get sharp images of the kids. So it was a 50mm prime 1.4, and I found the 1.4 was too much, and so I ended up probably shooting more like around 2 or something like that. I can't remember right now, but anyway, I had a lot of fun and tried to learn while I was having fun. So glad you guys liked them. So Don, do you have some images you want to share?
Yes, I do, and I hope that Trey has put a variable focus when he left, because he's going to control exactly what is seen by everybody else. I hope it's not locked on you, Gino, as beautiful as your mug is. I want to show one image, and I want to illustrate the editing process of today's Snowflake. And so this is going to be kind of a fun thing here. Let me just do a screen share. It's only going to take me a couple of seconds here. Full screen. Here we are. Okay, so this is how a snowflake comes out in Lightroom, and this is sort of right out of my camera, and this is the one that I chose to edit today. And there's all sorts of really cool details that I can capture within one of these things, and so I'm always excited when it's this time of the year. Now it's a little bit dark out of camera, and that might be intentional so that I don't overexpose certain areas, but also to get the flash power a little bit lower to keep up with me. But if I were to apply just some basic edits to that, then it really starts to show. But you notice that there's only a tiny little sliver of focus going through this thing. It might measure 2 to 3 millimeters across. It's pretty small. But the depth of field is a fraction of that. And so I have to take this and combine it with, let's see, how many images did I take in this sequence? I took a total of 33 in this case. And what I'll do with that is I will apply those settings to all of them, and then I will go edit in and then open as layers in Photoshop. And that brings them up in Photoshop, so that when I have Photoshop open, there's my this beautiful tan color is how I was doing color balance on my camera. I can go back to, say, in this case, what I've done here is I've taken them into Photoshop because they're all handheld, and I've gone edit auto align layers. And in this case, I'll just click on the automatic, and it shuffles them around so that the snowflake is in the same place in every photograph because they're entirely handheld. Once I've done that, I will go edit auto blend layers, and it will automatically pick up this option here called stack images, and it will find throughout all of them the options or the most in focus areas in each image. So you can see in this one here, all I have is this tiny little tip in focus. But if I finish that process, I get this. So I have the entire snowflake in focus, but I also have a lot of the background in here as well. And for those that don't know what that background is, it's fibers from a homemade black mitten that all of my snowflakes are photographed on. And so at that point, what I would do is I would take that finished focus stacked image here, and if I hide that, or actually if I were to hide all of the images going down this sequence here, if you can see, what I've got here is 33 images in this whole set, and if I keep going back down everything, you'll see that there's little slivers that will start to disappear, right? So because each individual image is still part of that sequence, but this shows you how Photoshop is selecting the individual pieces if I hide a few of them. So let's put them all back on in this case. And when that's done, you can see that Photoshop has created a bunch of different layers here, layer masks. And if I take all of those together and combine them into one, what I had done is I'd actually duplicated the entire set of photographs. So I have an entirely new set of them that are unedited. And I need to go back through this set to fix all sorts of different issues that have come up with the image as I've gone through it. And I'll show you one of the quick, fun shortcuts. This is very useful for anybody doing focus stacking and macro photography because you want to have typically an out-of-focus background. And when you've got that background, it really, it gives you a nice accent for colors, but keeps the focus where you want it to be. So I've hidden all the layers, and I'll turn on one, and you'll see that this layer here has this tiny tip in focus. Now this is a trick that I have where if I turn that off, you'll see that it's actually in a different state from one to the other. This image that has it out to here is different than if I have this one here. You can see the snowflakes actually melted. And in that case, it makes it very tricky for me to combine all of these separate images together because I have melting that I have to deal with. So I'll create a layer mask and invert the layer mask, and then I'll paint in the areas on this particular layer that I need to have properly displayed. And so I have to go through every single layer through the entire sequence and find out all of these issues. But the fun part is that this particular layer, if I look at the background on this one, the background on this one layer is really soft and smooth. I mean, there's lots of stuff I still need to clean up, but it's a heck of an easier job. So I'll take this layer and I'll just mask in the background from this layer that's furthest away from that background. And as I take that and finish that up, I mean, I'm just going to do it super rough right now, but that makes it a lot easier.
Oh no!
Oh!
You know what happened? It was just too much awesome. The computer couldn't handle it.
It just blew itself up.
Yeah, either that or he's just really, really jerking us around,
Hey everybody, Belle has arrived.
Hello.
Hi, Belle.
Hi.
Ah, how you going?
Belle, look at those guns on Belle, man.
What? Ah.
There it
I know.
It's
She's
yoga.
the gun
I
queen.
don't do anything else.
Belle has just come back from a month-long yoga retreat in Bali.
Or teacher training.
Oh my God.
I'm a yoga instructor.
Really? So that's why you did it, to be an instructor?
Yeah, well, to get my qualification, and I learned a lot.
Oh my God. You're so awesome. You just keep getting awesomer.
Thank you.
I want to be like you, Belle. I really do.
Whatever. I want to be like you. I miss you, Karen. I haven't spoken to you in ages.
I know. I miss you too.
Right.
Come over here. Come to California.
So, Don, just to kind of catch you up,
Really
you walked up on us right when you were about to show us the background, and then in the meantime, Belle showed up from a month-long yoga retreat. And,
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, she apparently won the lottery, and now she just yogas around. So, but anyway, we didn't get to see the last little bit of your display on that snowflake.
Right. So I was just showing you how I can clean up the background with that one layer, and I'll save you the trials and the time on that, and I'll just show you the final piece here. So this is the finished image, and after I've cleaned up the background and I've done all the focus stacking and played around with the color, and I just think that this is pretty awesome. I love doing this time of the year, and if I were to zoom in on that all the way, there's just so much detail worth exploring in each and every one of these. And I pay very specific attention to whatever natural colors happen to be in there, and connecting all of the lines, keeping the geometry accurate. And the final piece, I mean, I print a lot of these, but I make 100 of these every winter. And so this is my Snowflake a Day project, and I'm in day number 8 right now of 100 days, starting December 1st. And this is about 4 hours worth of editing when I get into it and clean up all of the failures of Photoshop, combining the separate images together. And so yeah, Trey showed the book that I'd published on this earlier. If you're curious about that, you can check out skycrystals.ca, which details the entire photographic and editing process on it.
So if you're sky crystal curious, that's the place to go.
Exactly. But there's lots of fun stuff.
Did you say it takes 100 hours of editing to create that?
No, it takes 4 hours.
4 hours. Oh,
yeah.
How are you doing one per day if it takes 100 hours?
But by the time winter's over, it's like 500 hours or so after I've completed it all, including the shooting time. But you can see in this snowflake, it started off with one type of structure, this blocky, very solid idea, and then it switched. The environmental variables, it had more humidity, and so the branches grew into these tree-like structures, growing out beyond that solid structure. And there's so much beautiful symmetry, even though if you look closely, nothing is actually symmetrical at all. It's sort of the wonders of winter that we have here in Canada and in northern U.S. And I don't know how much snow you get in New Zealand, maybe if there's any mountaintops there, but it's something that's kind of unique to this part of the world, I think. And I enjoy it. This is the only thing that I enjoy about winter, and so this is what I'm up to these days.
It's a great thing to enjoy. I have a question. What was the very first thing you did to get the auto blend and stacking option? Where did you go?
So it's under the edit menu. And under the edit menu, it's going to be grayed out right now because I only have one layer selected. But you have auto align layers, and then you have auto blend layers. And so these are just two simple basic options here in Photoshop. Had the images been properly aligned to begin with, I wouldn't have a 4-hour editing process. I'd have maybe a half hour. But because the horizontal shift and vertical shifts changes the perspective, I would have then vertical lines where in a snowflake, I'll have lines that should connect, but across the entire thing, it's going to break at some point. And Photoshop is going to show that as a solid break, and I have to go back in with a bit of artistry and sort of reconnect things.
Yeah, of course.
And it's only because it's handheld, because in this case the snowflake would melt or disappear over time. And it's funny because over the past 2 days I had photographed 2 separate snowflakes, and only after I had finished editing them did I realize it was the same snowflake. So here's this crystal, and then 22 minutes later I took a picture of this one. And I just realigned it to make them match up here. But as I was looking through them, and I'm thinking, you know what, that's the same snowflake. The lighting is different from one to the other. The angle is a bit different. But, it's the same crystal. I photographed the same damn thing twice. So it's interesting, though, when you see from one to the other. And, that there's a unique charm for either. What's that, sorry?
Did it melt or something, or why is it a little smaller the second one?
It sublimated, so it evaporated from a solid. They basically evaporate back into thin air over about an hour or two.
That happens to me. I
to all of us, to the best of us.
I was going to guess that it was sublimation. That was actually the guess I was going to come up with. So.
Oh, you should have spoken up sooner, Gino. Now you look like a fool.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
you know I know.
Yeah, so anyhow, I have to work very quickly with these things, and so that's why I do it all handheld, and I put the effort in after the fact. But
do you literally walk around outside with that mitt and then like catch a snowflake and then just take a picture of it real quick while it's in your hand? Is that what's going on?
No. The mitten is lying down on a table, our patio table in the backyard, and this is all done 2 feet from the back door. And so I just set it up with this camera here. So this is the beast that is used for that. I know everybody was talking about the A7R and the A7 II last week, but this is sort of my baby. And there's no substitute. This is a 1DX. And this is with a Canon, their newest ring flash here, their 65mm lens, which is an extreme macro lens, their life-size converter, which will double the magnification of that, and some extension tubes in there, which gets me about 12 times closer than the average macro lens. For me, I push against the limits of physics with this stuff, and it's a challenge, but it's one that I enjoy.
That is some hardcore nerd talk right there, my Canadian friend.
Don, I want you to teach like a 10-level sphere just on how to do these snowflake shots. This is so freaking cool.
Isn't it fun? Especially for people that I did a macro photography workshop the other week up in Timmins, Ontario, which is like 6 hours north of where I am. Like it's way, way up there. And they didn't have any snow. Like it was unseasonably warm, so we did some macro water droplet refractions and some other kind of fun stuff in there. But all the same techniques apply. Anything that you're doing on that scale, these same rules all apply, and you can do it all handheld without worrying about being bogged down by tripods.
Jessica, since you're into combo workshops, you should do a combo one with Don. You could do a macro boudoir workshop.
Snowdwarf.
I'm not quite sure
what that means.
We could refract an image of a model inside of a water droplet. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Well, there would be...
Let's do it.
There should be one hell of a lot of sublimation going on. That I know. Okay.
Hey, Gino, who's up next? I left, and Don was talking. I came back when Don was still on.
Yeah, Les. How about something?
Okay, Les.
Sure. Yeah. I've got. I'm actually, in the middle of things. We've just got into our summer now, and I've got a bit of a project going on a couple of areas, and one of them is a beach that I frequently. And I've just got some images that I am working through to try and... It's the beginning of like 12 months. So I'm about 2 months into it, but just to show a few different things about the beach itself. So that's one image. If you've been to into my stream, you'll have seen these. But just to show this beach, it's actually a cave floor on the beach. So we have some very interesting patterns and so on. So this is one of them. That's another. That's at night. Same beach, but about 200 meters further down. Same again. This one, low tide, so the rock pools are there, and it was the sky was quite amazing as well. So it's a beautiful beach. Not many people go there. A lot of surfers, but they get hurt sometimes as well, of course. And this one as well. It's much further into the beach actually, and so the rocks are varied, and you can wander through, and I'm sure the macro folks would actually love this because there's so much here to see. And then another thing that I do is a bit of bird photography as well. And this is a nesting pair of osprey that we have around our area, and this is the male and female doing a little bit of courting, and again I'm following them for 12 months. So they've just bred and fledged their young, so there's a bit going on at the moment. This is Dad returning back with a big herring, but he was chasing 2 Australian ravens as well, so beautiful to see that happen.
That fish is massacred.
Yeah, it is. He'd been chewing on it for a little while. So what he does is he eats a lot of the head, and then takes all of the entrails down, gets rid of all of the bad food, if you like, from the fish, and he eats a bit of it, and then he takes it to the nest and gives it to the female and
sounds like
the young.
a Friday night having dinner at my place right there. Exactly what I do.
Thank you, Gino. Thank you very much. That added a lot to the conversation. I appreciate it. Continue.
What I'm here for.
So this was another one. He was actually coming in after the female called him. This was his second time out. The first time he came back and he got into a lot of strife because he didn't have a fish. And then he disappeared again, and about 2 minutes later he came back with this one and was going straight into the nest with the female and the 3 kids. So
man, he's good.
Yeah, he is. When he wants to, he can get on, and I've seen him jump off the nest and within about 45 seconds be sitting back on the nest with the fish because it's right on the edge of the estuary. So fortunate. I mean, a lot of people don't like them because they have a blue sky, but here in Perth we have a lot of blue skies. So it's you can change it. Of course, this would be very easy to change it, but I just can't do that. It sort of messes with my mind with the natural history of it all.
It's beautiful.
So, yeah. So there you go. So that's just kind of what I do.
Very nice.
We have a Cooper's hawk. We have a Cooper's hawk that hangs out on the top of our house, and we were like, oh, we have our own hawk. That's so neat. So we looked up Cooper's hawk to see what they eat and how they eat it, and they eat all the little rodents and stuff, and we're like, oh, they're eating all the moles and voles. That's so. And then they'd start telling about how they kill them. So they hold them and they squeeze them to death, or they hold them under the water and drown them. Just like,
lovely.
Wow. That's so awesome.
And you thought my comment was unappetizing. Wow.
Well, you made me hungry. You made me
Jessica,
hungry.
have you shown images yet, Jessica?
I haven't. I have.
I thought. Okay, so let's just keep going then. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I'm gonna totally break tradition and like go off of some of my Instagram feed actually, because I can do it with an iPhone. So my birthday is this week, and I got some really cool new toys from a friend of mine. So these showed up at my house recently, and I have to say that regrettably I've never actually shot on film cameras, and these are all working cameras. So this is a new venture that I'm going into because I really want to learn how to do this.
If you need some 4x5 film, Jessica, let me know. I've got a bunch of it sitting here.
I do, and then I need someone to teach me how to shoot with 4x5 film on a film camera because I was born into the digital age.
I do it fairly frequently.
Nice. Yeah, because I actually only picked up a camera like 5 years ago, so I started out on digital. So that's super cool.
How non-subtle you're being. You see, this is exactly what I was talking about. Is you're like, oh, I've only been shooting for 4 or 5 years, and I'm an extreme master. And by the way, I'm so young that the digital age is all I've ever known. It's just crazy how old the rest of you are. Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
No, it's not that. I think there's something really charming and artistic about the film that's lacking in a lot of digital. So it's something that I'd really like to learn how to do.
More backhanded compliments. Oh yes, all you old people, you're very charming and quaint. Go ahead.
I'm trying to master the Don thing. I just can't do it. The backhanded compliment is not my thing. So this is actually, I thought this was really cool. This is one of the images that's on the cover of my book, and I found it online. And there's this like oil painter and charcoal artist that actually did a rendition of one of my photographs, like as the inspiration. I thought it was really cute that she drew clothes on her though, because she's naked in the photo in my version. But I thought that was really cool to pay homage to that. It was really neat when I came across it. So that's pretty nifty.
Now, how did you come across it? Did they let you know? Like, did they get in touch with you, or did you just happen across? Wait a minute, that looks familiar.
No, her husband actually bought a copy of my book for her birthday and was like, oh yeah, she's actually not a photographer. She's she's an oil painter mostly, but she's really inspired by your work. And so he sent me it like just in conversation, and I just thought it was really neat. I was like, can I share it? And she was like really like excited about it, and I was really excited about it. So it was good. I think it's really flattering when other artists are inspired by your work, and I totally do that from the other end. Like I can totally list all kinds of people that inspire me, but it's still a little surreal for me when somebody goes, yeah, you inspire what I'm doing. I think that's both very confidence building and humbling simultaneously. So these are some of my new favorites. This was one we were just playing around and we shot it in the studio, and this girl is actually a fetish model, so almost every image in her portfolio has a lot of latex, and she's tattooed head to toe, so it was kind of fun to play with her and try to give her something that was really different from anything else that she had, and it was interesting to kind of conceal her a little more, but this is one of my new favorites. And this is actually my makeup artist, and she's been working with me for about 3-4 years now, and she's just stunning, and she has never let me photograph her. As gorgeous as she is, she's so self-conscious, and she's really been blossoming as an artist herself lately, and I think that's been giving her some confidence, so she finally came in and let me photograph her, and I think it's my new favorite photo from the year. And that was giving me some confidence because it got some really good reviews. So I switched and tried boudoir for the first time, and I was super stoked about it. It's a lot harder for me to photograph men than it is women. Women are all about curves and lines, and I know how to move them and pose them and light them very naturally. It was way out of my comfort zone, even with all those abs, and obviously he's not difficult to take photos of. So I've been playing with that a little bit, and this was another one that I did of a good friend of mine that we used to be like really, really close when we were younger, and then we had this like 16-year gap in communication and recently crossed paths again, and so he let me photograph him as well. So it's been interesting learning and stepping outside my comfort zone. It's a lot harder than I thought it would be. So in the Creation Wars episode 1, I was the one that set off the taboo word with the word 7 of all words, because I said I had a 7-foot giant piece of fruit that I'm doing, and this is the photo of that. It is taking up my entire studio right now, and it's actually built with chicken wire and then paper mache with all of my old artwork from college years when I was doing mostly paintings and drawings, because they've been sitting in storage for over a decade now, and it was time to give them new life, so they're kind of reincarnating. So that was what cost me the taboo word of episode 1, and that's the in process. I'm excited to show you guys when it's all done. This is my daughter and my son on the day that my husband left, and these are obviously not for photography purposes to brag about, but this is really significant in my life. This image just killed me. My son here, he just destroyed me in that image. It was a really tough day. So that was 8 months ago when he left, and he wasn't supposed to be home until April, and we were with other family and loved ones, because you get really close with your unit. And these were some of the moments that we were kind of experiencing at the beginning of this, and it was, it was tough, and they were such little troopers, and for 8 months they would write him a letter every single night on a whiteboard, and we would take a picture and Instagram it so that whenever he could get online, he could, read letters from them. And so he wasn't supposed to be home until April, and we took him to the airport, and they thought that I was picking up one of my apprentices from the Arcanum, because a lot of them have been coming to visit lately, which has been super cool to get one-on-one FaceTime with them. So they're getting used to it. So we told them we were going, and they were sitting there, and they were bored out of their mind because Mommy was working, and we're waiting for him to get off the plane, and they had no idea that it was their dad getting off the plane. And so he was walking up behind them while we were recording, and they were saying hi to him, and he just grabbed them, and the look on their face when they turned around, like, who's grabbing me, and then it was their dad, was just epic. So that's been my life in the last week or two, and it's really exciting. It makes me really happy. That's what I got for you today.
That's fantastic.
And it looks like you brought a little photographer along to photograph you, too. He got in the picture.
Yeah, so we actually had Rob Adams, who's a really good cinematographer. He put together a little home video for us because, fun fact, we got married in the middle of a blizzard and our photographer didn't make it, so we have no wedding photos. So,
No.
so now we'll have this nice little home movie of the homecoming, which is really significant for us. So I'm super excited about it.
Really cool.
Yeah. That's it.
So is he in the Army?
He is. He's joined right out of high school at 18, and so he's got 14, 15 years in, and we have a really wonderful marriage because he's never around long enough to annoy me.
Secret of marital success. Don't be around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you find Rob Adams, Jess?
So he's actually out of New Jersey, and I'm Pennsylvania, and we just crossed paths a couple of times because we both teach at the conventions. Okay. So I'm positively in love with him and his wife, Vanessa. They're both amazing people and artists, and I dropped him a line, and he's like, absolutely, let's do it. So it was really cool for him to send his people. I'm really excited.
Yeah, his work is, well, both their work actually is terrific. It's outstanding what he does.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
He'd be good for the Arcanum too. Maybe I'll send him Trey's way.
Mm.
Well, I think, has everybody shown images that wanted to show image other than Trey? I think so, right?
Okay, you want me to go last?
Yep.
Thank you, Jess. Those are awesome images. Mine are not going to be nearly as touching as yours. I would be like, here's a mountain. It's just sitting there. Okay, let me screen share here. Here we go. Share my Photoshop here. Oops, share. Okay, can you guys see that? Gino, do you see that? Over?
I do.
Okay, so I took this on a hike. I did not go to a month-long yoga retreat, but I did a week-long one at Aroha. And actually, we've been thinking about doing a combo photography workshop slash yoga workshop. And I thought that'd be like super fun. You know, kind of light yoga, but heavy photography. But the hikes we go on all around New Zealand are unbelievable. And you can just see, I mean, you're just taking shots like this all the time, just kicking goals nonstop. So this is a collection of shots from this week at that place and some other weird event I did. That, I guess, is this. So this is her name is Jess Young, and she's a singer from Melbourne. She came to Queenstown to do a private concert. So this is during the concert. You can see that giant, awesome speaker behind her. I'll show you another one from the warm-up session soon. This is one of my prints. It's in a private collection, and this is me signing it. I really like the way this thing is mounted. It came out really, really cool.
Is that on metal?
No, it's not on metal. It's on well, it's on aluminum. Yeah. Actually, there's a funny story about this in that they hung it upside down, but I didn't have the heart to tell them, so I just went and signed it anyway. Because they went through such effort to hang it. Anyway, that's that. Here is a little pond that I went to go visit to do a little meditation at, and you know, I always have my camera with me, so after my little meditation, I took a photo. It's always good to get good reflections off these small ponds because they're just much less likely to get all ripply. Here's my my friend Sam. We hiked up here. Isn't that roof cool? This is an old hut that you can take refuge in, and they've got the roof held down by these huge rocks that just hang there.
Ah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Because if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have known what the rocks were doing.
Yeah. This is Jess during sound check, during warm up earlier in the day. No, don't save. Yeah, save. A few changes to it. All right. This is another shot from that exact same pond you saw earlier, just a slightly different perspective. So I think, you know, whenever you find a good pond, you should try to work it as much as you can, get as many angles as you can. So fun.
Push it real good.
This is another tiny little pond. This is actually right. This is at the yoga place, but this is right in front of all the massage rooms. And every day you get a massage. So it's like a week-long massage session. It's so awesome. So you kind of get to look at this while you're getting the rub down. Here's my friend Chris, my neighbor. He's actually the guy that owns the yoga retreat. And here we are on another hike. This is just two different lakes that almost touch each other. One is Lake Wakatupu. I forgot the name of the other one. But anyway, this is a really nice little hike. This is there at Aroha. And this is at night, obviously. The stars came out and the clouds were out. And this usually we're all so exhausted at the end of the day. These hot tubs are just like the most awesome thing ever. So this was a 20-second exposure. I told her to sit still for 20 seconds. Here's a little scene we saw on one of the hikes, a little dock there. And that's all. Dun, dun, dun. I will stop screen sharing now.
Wow.
There you go.
That was a week long, huh?
Well, 6 days. I think it was 5 nights, yeah.
A New Zealand week, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was a great series, Trey. You know, that shot that you had shown of the pool or the hot tub at night with the stars and that kind of stuff, was that a difficult exposure to get? I would imagine that the lights from the foreground might overshadow the lights from the stars, and you wouldn't have that brightness in the sky.
Well, it's definitely an HDR, so I took like 4 exposures. I took some quick ones so that the bottom part was not overexposed. So I kind of HDR'd the bottom part, but the top part is pretty much all that 25-second exposure.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was with I think I shot it with a 35 f1.4 Leica lens. Yeah.
And did you have it all the way down at 1.4 when you shot that?
Always have it all the way down at your night shots for your Big Bend adventure there, Gino.
Yes, that's what I wanted to hear, Trey. You knew where I was going with that.
I know. I'm always 17 chess moves ahead of you, Gino.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem is I'm playing checkers and you're playing chess, so that's I'm just moving them one space at a time, looking to king me, and you've already got queens and knights and stuff. That's all right.
It's all right.
So, Stu, Tiff, any final words of awesomeness that either one of you wish to share with the audience?
I think that was probably the longest sharing session we've had so far, and that was awesome.
It was a super long sharing session. Yeah.
Stu would like us to stop oversharing.
That was
yeah. It was almost as long as one of Jessica's critiques.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Man, I am just getting beat this one. I'm not coming back to the next one.
Well, you were already down in 6, so we thought we'd just kick that horse.
I know. J-Lark's really sick. Let's talk about how she can't add up votes in tangible format and how mean she is in critique and how she's too long-winded.
And how gross the sweater sleeve has got to be by now after all that nose rubbing she's been doing on it.
All right, you guys. Let's wrap it up. Thank you guys for coming. Great show. Thanks for all the submissions. Thanks to all the masters. Thank you, Gino. Thank you, Tiff. Thank you, Stu. That was awesome. So now comes the end of the show where we all just kind of wave goodbye and thank everybody. All right.
See ya.
See ya.